Good morning, eighth grade. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. And we have three very short scenes that we're going to try to get through today, but there's some French. So you might get a good kick out of my bad French, or you might have to endure it. But just stick with me this morning, particularly when Pistol is speaking French. That's going to be pretty fun. So let me start where the last scene 3 ended, because I think I got cut off at the end. So York, one of the nobles, comes and asks the Lord, asks Henry, he says, my Lord, most humbly on my knee, I beg the leading of the Vaward. So the front, so like basically the point of the spear in the army attack. So King Henry says, "Take it, brave York. Now soldiers march away, and how thou pleasest God dispose the day." So he's basically saying, "Thy will be done to God in the matter of this battle." Okay, so we're on page 171, starting at scene 4, and we have a French soldier, Pistol, and a boy, the boy that we've seen before. Okay, Pistol says, "Yield, cur. Je pense que vous êtes le gentilhomme de bonne qualité." So the Frenchman says, "Oh, I think you must be a man of quality." He says that because he has a servant with him. And Pistol says, "Quality, call me Custer me." It makes no sense. It's not French. "Art thou a gentleman? What is thy name? Discuss." And the French soldier says, "Oh, Seigneur Dieu, oh Lord." And Pistol says, "Oh, Seigneur Dieu." He thinks that's his name, not that he's made a mild oath. And he says, "Oh, Seigneur Dieu should be a gentleman. Perpend my words, oh, Seigneur Dieu. And mark, oh, Seigneur Dieu, thou diest on point of fox, except, oh, Seigneur, thou do give me an egregious ransom." So Pistol's trying to get money. He's trying to take money from the Frenchman, and he's threatening to kill him if he doesn't. And he thinks his name is Dieu, not God, which is the French. Dieu is the French for God. "Oh, prenez miséricorde, ayez pitié de moi." He says, "Have pity on me." And Pistol says, "Moi shall not serve." So he's making fun of moi. "I will have 40 mois. I will fetch thy rim out at thy throat in drops of crimson blood." So he's saying, "I'm going to kill you if all you have is 1 moi," which means yourself. He says he wants 40 mois, but he doesn't understand. He thinks that's French coinage. He's confused. "Est-il impossible d'échapper la force de ton bras? Brass, cur, thou damned and luxurious mountain goat, offers me brass?" So he thinks that he's offering him brass because, again, he doesn't understand the language. When he said, what the Frenchman asked was, "Is there any way that I can be free again?" And the French says, "Oh, pardonnez-moi, pardonnez-moi." So he's saying, "Oh, excuse me." And Pistol says, "Sayest thou me so? Is that a ton of mois?" So all this is built on the misunderstanding of each other's language. "Come hither, boy. Ask me this slave in French. What is his name?" Boy says, "Écoutez, comment êtes-vous appelé?" So that's what's your name? And he says, "Monsieur le Fer." And then the boy says, he says his name is Master Fair. "Master Fair, I'll fair him, and firk him, and ferret him. Discuss the same in French unto him." Boy says, "I do not know the French for fair and ferret and firk." "Bid him prepare, for I will cut his throat." And to the boy, the Frenchman says, "Que dit-il, monsieur?" And he says, "What did he say?" And the boy says, il me commande vous dire que vous vous prêt, car ce soldat ici est disposé tout à 7 heures de couper votre gorge." So he says, he told me to tell you that he's going to kill you. And Pistol says, "Owie, coupe la gorge, permafoy. Peasant, unless thou give me crowns, brave crowns, or mangled thou shalt be by my sword." And the French soldier says, "Oh, je vous supplie, pour l'amour de le Dieu, me pardonnez, je suis le gentilhomme de bonne maison. Gardez ma vie et je vous donnerai 200 écus. And Pistol says, what are his words? And he says, if you look back on the other page 172, it says, oh, I beg you for the love of God to pardon me. I am a gentleman of a good house. Preserve my life, and I will give you 200 crowns. It's a lot of money. All right. And Pistol says, what are his words? And the boy says, he prays you to save his life. He is a gentleman of a good house, and for his ransom he will give you 200 crowns. Pistol says, okay, then tell him my fury shall abate, and I the crowns will take. And the French soldier says to the boy, Petit monsieur, que dit-il? So he says, little sir, what did he say? And the boy says, encore qu'il est contre son jurement de prendre aucun prisonnier, ne moi, pour les écus. You know what? I'm going to stop. We're just going to go over here. And from encore to franchisement, we have once again that it is against his oath to pardon any prisoner. Nevertheless, for the crowns that you have promised him, he is content to give you liberty and freedom. So he tells them that for those 200 crowns, he can buy his freedom. And the French soldier says, sur mes genoux, je vous donne 1000 remerciements, et je m'estime heureux que je tombe. All right, he says, follow the great captain. All right. Actually, my apologies. He says, see lines 59, 63 for translation, and the boy says, he gives you, okay, so Pistol says, tell me what he just said, and he says, he gives you upon his knees 1,000 thanks, and he esteems himself happy that he hath fallen into the hands of one, as he thinks, the most brave, valorous, and thrice worthy Signor of England. So obviously everyone's been confused about Pistol here. He must put on a good show. Pistol says, as I suck blood, I will some mercy show. Follow me. And the boy says, suivez-vous le grand capitaine? So he says, follow the captain. The boy says, I did never know so full a voice issue from so empty a heart, but the saying is true, the empty vessel makes the greatest sound. Bardolph and Nym had 10 times more valor than this roaring devil in the old play, that everyone may pare his nails with a wooden dagger, and they are both hanged, and so would this be if he durst steal anything adventurously, I must say, with the lackeys, with the luggage of our camp. The French might have a good prey of us if he knew of it, for there is none to guard it but boys. Okay, so he's talking about how weak they really are, but thankfully the French have no idea. Okay, and he's also saying that Bardolph and Nym were both better men than Pistol, but I don't know why Nym has been hanged, but he says that both are hanged. So Bardolph has been hanged, and so has Nym. So I guess perhaps Nym was caught stealing as well. Interesting. Okay, I don't remember that. All right, so here we have the French nobles on the battlefield. So the constable says, "Oh, diable," that is the devil. Oh my goodness, the devil. And Orleans says, "Oh, Seigneur, le jour est perdu, tu es perdu." He says, "Oh my lord, the day is lost, everything is lost." And Dauphin says, "Mort de ma vie." We've heard him say that before. He says, "Death of my life. All is confounded, all reproach and everlasting shame sits mocking in our plumes." So the day is not going well for the French, and they are shocked and unprepared for this. Oh, méchante fortune, do not run away. So don't, oh, evil fortune, run away. Do not run away. Constable says, "Why, all our ranks are broke." The Dauphin says, "Oh, perdurable shame, let's stab ourselves. Be these the wretches that we played at dice for?" Orleans says, "Is this the king we sent to for his ransom?" Bourbon says, "Shame and eternal shame, nothing but shame. Let us die, and once more back again. And he that will not follow Bourbon now, let him go hence, and with his cap in hand, like a base pander, hold the chamber door, whilst by his slave, no gentler than my dog, his fairest daughter is contaminate." So Bourbon says, "Shame on all of you if you don't follow me back into this battle, and even if we lose, we should die on the battlefield, not here or on our own swords. And the constable says, "Disorder, that has spoiled us. Friend us now. Let us on heaps go offer up our lives." And Orleans says, "We are enough yet living in the field to smother up the English in our throngs, if any order might be thought upon." Bourbon says, "The devil take order now, I'll to the throng. Let life be short, else shame will be too long." So the constable says, "If we can just get everybody back in order, we still have enough men on the battlefield to win the day." But the other nobles don't seem to be convinced of this. And Bourbon says, "Devil take the order, so it doesn't matter what order we do now." He says, "I'm going to the throng, or where the thickest fighting is, and let life be short." He says, "Let me die on the battlefield, or else I will be too ashamed to live after this battle." Okay, last scene. We might make it. Here we have the English nobles. King Henry says, "Well have we done, thrice valiant countrymen, but all's not done. Yet keep the French the field." Exeter says, "The Duke of York commends him to your majesty." And King Henry says, "Lives he, good uncle?" So he thought he would be dead because he was at the front of the battle. "Thrice within this hour I saw him down, thrice up again, and fighting from helmet to the spur, all blood he was." Exeter said, "In which array, brave soldier, doth he lie, larding the plain, and by his bloody side, yoke fellow to his honour owing wounds, the noble Earl of Suffolk also lies." Suffolk first died, and York, all haggled over, comes to him where in gore he lay ensteeped, and takes him by the beard, kisses the gashes that bloodily did yawn upon his face. He cries aloud, "Tarry, my cousin Suffolk. My soul shall thine keep company to heaven. Tarry, sweet soul, for mine. Then fly abreast, as in this glorious and well-foughten field we kept together in our chivalry." Upon these words I came and cheered him up, and he smiled me in the face, wrought me his hand, and with a feeble grip says, "Dear my lord, commend my service to my sovereign." So did he turn, and over Suffolk's neck he threw his wounded arm, and kissed his lips, and so espoused to death with blood he sealed, a testament of noble ending love. The pretty and sweet manner of it forced those waters from me which I would have stopped, but I had not so much of a man in me, and all my mother came into mine eyes and gave me up to tears. So in Shakespeare, whenever a man cries, he says that that's the female side of him, or he talks about it as the woman in me or my mother in me. And so when York made the promise to die with Suffolk, because Suffolk died on the field, and he swears this to Suffolk, this act of love makes Exeter cry, and he says he gave himself up to tears. And King Henry says, "I blame you not. For hearing this, I must perforce compound with my full eyes, or they will issue too." So he says, "I'm about to cry just listening to it." And then he hears an alarm, and he says, "But hark, what new alarm is this same? The French have reinforced their scattered men. Then every soldier kill his prisoners, give the word through." So Henry says, "We don't have time to take prisoners at this point. Just everyone kill his prisoners and get back to the battle, because the French have reorganized." So the French are thinking that they are going to die, and the English think that they are going to die. So we don't yet know the end of the battle. So for today, I would like for you to respond that you have read. Don't forget to submit that or turn it in. And also, what do you think? I mean, now that we know what's going on, there are more French on the battlefield than English. So do you think that the French will win? Or do you think that the English have such a that they've surprised the French so much that they will win the day? All right. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you back here again tomorrow.